Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mind, Body, and Roots. I've got the lovely Dr. Alan Stern here. He retired from clinical dentistry back in 2023. He practiced for 43 years. He does coaching, and he's also a Pankey alumni. Without further ado, I will let him introduce himself because he does so many other things that I can't even begin to describe.
Hana, shame on you for not being able to memorize everything. We're going to send you back for some special remediation in order to do that. I just want people to know that I retired after 42 years of clinical dentistry. And the big thing that I do that many people don't is I speak the language of the operatory and the heart. And your podcast is called Mind, Body, and Roots. We add a little bit of heart and soul to it, and you have me. Because really, the lessons that I learned in my career and in life are all about putting the love of humanity and the love of yourself into everything you do. And the way I work, whether I speak to groups or whether I coach individuals or groups, the messages I want to send out are that dentistry is a great career if you make it to be a great career. If you practice you rather than somebody else, you're going to be fine. If you look for love of humanity and understand the sacred nature of your work, you're going to be great. And the other thing that I do is I pursue fitness goals like a crazy man. And I I won't tell you how old I am, but 7 years ago, at the age of 66, I held a plank for 10 and a half minutes.
Wow.
And I don't think I can do that now. I focused on other things, but a 3-minute plank for me is like nothing. I can do that as part of a large routine. But physical fitness, emotional and mental fitness, and really reconnecting with what you are all about, whether you're a dentist or a non-dentist. If you see your work as being sacred, as being contributory and impactful, you're going to be just fine. So there you go.
That's quite a mouthful and very impressive, Alan.
Thanks. It's about being a human being. Somebody asked me once, are you a human doing or a human being? And we in dentistry, we will tend to be human doings. Oh, I got this roundhouse. I got this implant. I got this case. No, I'm a human being taking care of a human being. I'm an individual taking care of an individual who has these needs, wants, desires, and limitations and fears. That makes all the difference, man.
Yeah, I think you're very good at reframing things. And at a certain point in your life, you have to get very good at it, whether it's dealing with patients or just people in general.
Yeah. You know what? Somebody asked me once, oh, I'm sorry. Let me reframe this with total transparency. A buddy of mine, Mike McDevitt, who was an amazing periodontist in Atlanta. He taught me to say this. He said, and he told this to his friends and colleagues. They asked, how many patients do you have in your office? And the answer is not very many. I have friends. And that impacted me like a hammer on the head, because that's how we ran our office. And that's how we did our imperfect best to treat anybody and everybody we encountered in the office, from the best, longest standing patient we had to the UPS guy who'd come in every day. We treated everybody like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sets up a average, I wouldn't say clinician is the right word, but it's what sets a good clinician from becoming a great clinician.
Yeah. Yeah. I look, we all have different abilities, different skill sets, different philosophies of care. And you could be what they call bread and butter, or you could be AACD. You could be a Pankey master, a Spear, or a Coys, or Dawson, or any of those guys. You could master those skills. But the thing that needs to go along with it, especially now when the whole world is digitizing, commoditizing, dehumanizing, is really a heart and really a love of the person that you are with, that you are treating. Not you're getting married very soon. The love of a patient is different than the love of your fiance or wife or children or parents. But the element of love, if you can introduce that into your office, you'll have a winning team. You'll have patients who are loyal, patients who look forward to coming to see you. Yes, I said that. And Monday morning won't suck.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think it comes back to reframing your training from the beginning because something that I've always picked up, which I used to get made fun of actually when I was an associate. Still, I'm an associate, but I call everyone my friend. Um, a- and I think I learned it from my first ever mentor. And the people in Missouri are like, why do you always say that? I'm like, honestly, it adds a little bit of comfort and also a level of trust, even for a new patient, and they appreciate that.
You just hit the jackpot, my friend. In fact, if you were here, I would be your patient without even batting an eye. Trust. If there is no trust, let's look at the negative for a second. What happens if there's no trust? They go into your chair with skepticism. They're looking to find something you messed up. And by the way, what happens if you don't trust them? If you don't trust the person sitting in your chair, you are scared out of your shorts because if the littlest thing goes wrong, what are they going to do? One star review, state board complaint, trash you all over the neighborhood. So I answer Facebook questions like this all the time. I had a client, I spoke to a client 2 weeks ago, and she was treating a teenage girl, and we always laugh when you can't get through a conversation with me. You've learned this the hard way already without a laugh. And sometimes it borders on the inappropriate, doesn't it? She was treating a young girl, and her mother was Mrs. Sikorsky, the helicopter parent. Sikorsky is the name of a helicopter manufacturer. And this mother would not let the kid get a word in edgewise. She was an 18-year-old girl. And the mother was micromanaging not only the daughter, but also the dentist. Didn't like this. She didn't like that. Why are you doing this? I looked up on Google that that you should be doing this and not this. Well, that dentist who was working with me, I said, get her out. If there and the way you do it, you make the truth palatable. And I told her, just say, Mrs. Sikorsky, I understand because you have every reason to be so caring for your daughter. But if you don't trust me to do the right thing, then your daughter and you don't belong here. I really think it's in both of our best interests for you to find a dentist that you can work with. Because frankly, as well, Mrs. Sikorsky, I'm afraid to make a move without you questioning. And that's not healthy. So the word you hit on, Ahad, is trust. Friendship, trust. By calling a patient a friend, you are decades ahead of your time, career-wise. By understanding the tremendous importance of earning trust before you tell a patient what a treatment plan is or what they need, so you think, you develop that trust, you listen to them and express your love of humanity that way. You got it right, my friend. You really got it right. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
I'm only here because of my mentors, man. Shadowing them, watching them how they do things. Honestly, I think, you know, my journey was a little bit harder than most general ones. I took 2 years before I even went into dental school. And in that present moment when I was there in the 2-year mark, I remember I was really upset with myself because I was like, "Oh, I'm a failure. I'm not learning anything. I'm not making any money. I'm not in school." And I look back and it's like, if I didn't have those 2 years, I would have never met my group of friends that I have now. I would have never learned the skills and the soft skills that I developed over those 2 years. Insurance, understanding how that works, how to manage expectations, people. For me, those 2 years were more valuable than anything school could have taught me.
Can I tell you a little secret?
Yeah.
I had to drop out of college 2 months before I was supposed to graduate because of a family illness.
Wow.
I was out of school. Guess how long?
2 years?
I worked in a retail store.
Hmm.
I learned humility. I learned about people. And my store manager who hired me, who became my regional manager, he made me a manager for one of those 2 years. He was a friend for life. He died last year. We were friends up until the day he passed away. Yeah. So, and one of the things that I learned, I can tell you, this is a whole nother podcast. Adversity can be your best friend. Some of it, if I tell you that I hit financial rock bottom in my late 40s, if I tell you that I had to sell my house under duress and I really thought And my savings for retirement were negligible. And here I am. Because that and by the way, I thought of myself as an underachiever, underproducing, less than a lesser practitioner in person than most of my peers. I was wrong, but I hit emotional and financial rock bottom. And those adversities, along with the death of my mother, created the guy that you're seeing in front of you. So adversity, if you use it properly, will be a friend. But you've got to have your eyes open and have a little faith in yourself and in the unit, whatever spirituality you have, whether it's God, the universe, karma, fate, whatever you want to call it. There's opportunity in front of you all the time. You just have to keep your eyes open. And those adversities will teach you lessons that no instructor can teach you.
Makes a lot of sense, actually. And I think I had another episode. A gentleman I was talking to, and we like looked at Steve Jobs, and he says you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't do it looking forwards because you don't know what to expect. But when you look back and you reflect, that's the lessons that you believe in are meant to be taught to you, and how you react to those lessons is who you become.
How you react to those lessons really determines your future. And it determines your mindset. So think about this. This is one of I have 113 Alanisms. And one of my Alanisms is you are your mindset at any given moment. There are times, and if I'm getting too far off topic, just please
No, no, not at all.
straighten me out because I learned as much from you as you learned from me. But there are mornings when I wake up and I'm thinking to myself, you're going to be 73 years old in a month. What the hell are you doing? What do you have to give, old man, that young punks like Ahad could ever derive? And then invariably, and it happened today. It happened today. And invariably the universe sends me a message and it smacks me in the head and it says, hey, stupid, look in the mirror, see something really good and get out there and give your goodness to the world. And I look up at the mirror, I say, yes.
Yeah.
Or yes, man. By the way, some of my closest advisors and coaches, including the one I'm married to, are women.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned so much. And most of my advisors are younger than I am. Hell, most of the world is younger than I am.
I think people always say that mentorship is a one-way street. It's not. It's two-way streets. You learn something from the young and the old. And age does not determine wisdom. It's life experiences. That's what it comes down to.
My clients, they're all younger than I am, obviously, but we get together once a week on a Wednesday evening online, and they think they're learning from me. They don't even realize half the stuff I'm learning from them. This is not a zero-sum game. We all make each other better.
Yeah.
We all make each other.
You're right. So life's interesting, Alan. That's what I've learned. It's not a very, eh, as all the major scriptures say, kind of, it's a test at the end of the day. And how you solve that test is up to your uh, aptitude to wanting to learn how to solve that mysterious puzzle that we call life.
Yeah. And I think, you have to adapt to the world. The world is changing faster than even, excuse me, young punks like you can keep up with. The youngest of us, the most tech savvy people they've got to stay on their toes to keep up with how fast the world is evolving. But the one thing that will never change are your core values. If you understand who you are and what your core values are, and you stay true to yourself, you will be successful no matter what. I have something I'm looking up above my desk now that I went to a leadership conference about 10 years ago. And I go to this thing every year, 10, maybe 11 years ago. And we came out of the conference and the facilitators said, take a half hour and write down what you've learned from this weekend. And what I wrote is framed above my desk and it was in every operatory of my office. in my reception area and in my private office. And it says, let me continue to improve as a force for good wherever I go, no matter how excellent or flawed I may be.
Hmm.
And I behave that way by intent, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to my imperfect best. Everything I say and do, with the exceptions of the time where I make a human error, we do that from time to time.
Yeah.
Is with the intent of affecting good in the world. And that's when I am at my best. That's when I feel my best. That's when I know I'm humming on 8 cylinders.
And that conference you went to, that was Pankey Life and Legacy, or
That was Leadership and Legacy with Mary Osborne and Joan Schutz and now Lee Brady. Mary, you're going to see us. Well, you will be busy with other things, but at the end of the week on Friday, the 22nd, I will be on a panel on mental health. We'll be speaking. I'm going to be talking about cracking the code for happiness in dentistry. And I'm going to be on a panel with Mary and Joan and Allison Watts and Ryan Poulon and Brian DeRoche, some of the great thinkers. I don't know what they want from me, but we will be addressing these issues. So now my teachers, my role models, are now my peers on the panel. Oh my goodness gracious, because I am a force for good. That's what I've made myself to be. You
and I
just
think
carry it forward.
people, especially in dentistry, we need that.
Yeah, we need to, in dentistry, especially young guys, we need to go back to our personal statement from dental school because, you know, you're in the game, Ahad. You're caught in this world of production. We're caught in this world of debt. We're caught in, so a lot of us work for DSOs or larger practices, and we're being told, "Whoosh, you're not productive enough. Got to work faster. Got to do this. Got to do that." And, you know, we're running 18 columns with 13 and a half hygienists, right? Little embellishment, little embellishment there to make a point. But all of a sudden, and we're called the dirtiest word in the English language. You remember what that is? Remember what I taught you? Provide.
Yes.
That is I would rather you call me some of those Jersey words. Don't ever be called a provider. Why? Because you lose track of your why. Go back to your personal statement on your dental school application and make sure you are acting within those reasons that you became a dentist. Are you still there? Yeah. And if not, why not? Get back to it or reinvent yourself as something else. But stay true to your core values and the word. May I go on a rant on the word provider?
I'm in complete agreement with you. They say it all the time here at the practices, and it would piss me off to no degree, and I tried changing it, and I was like, yeah, it's not going to change. It's a cultural thing.
Here's what you do, because you, sir, are a class act, and you're also a professional. So here's how I work with my clients on this. Gee, Dr. Sakid, you're one of our better providers. Well, thank you, Miss Manager. I appreciate the compliment. I'd like to see myself as a good practitioner. Thank you. Yeah. And just change the culture a little bit at a time. The word provider came about because governments and other third-party payers needed an item on their balance sheet, on their ledger sheet, to say where their money is going. Yeah. So whether you're a dentist, a hygienist, doctor, a physical therapist, a nurse practitioner, etc., the money is paid out to providers. But the very convenient side effect is it degrades, dehumanizes, devalues, and demoralizes people who have trained 4 years beyond college, who have taken countless hours of CE and have inherited tons of responsibility far beyond your internet provider, your cell phone provider, your cable provider, the official billboard provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. I saw that at a Philly game one day, a couple of years ago. We are healers. We are practitioners. We are clinicians. We are doctors.
Yes. Yes.
We are not. We are providers to a third-party payer. Correct. For the sake of their freaking balance sheets. But we cannot allow the public to perceive us as that. That's where all that Mrs. Sikorsky, all that helicopter parenting, all that looking up on Dr. Google or Dr. GPT or Dr. AI, that's where that all comes from. Because you're nothing more than a provider now. You're going to do as I'm told. You're going to drill my tooth only this big, and you're going to make it match perfect. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So you're a practitioner, and a provider gives a service. A practitioner gives care, skill, judgment, leadership, and influence. Therein lies the difference. Artificial intelligence will never give judgment. Artificial intelligence is a great tool. I use ChatGPT like it's my best buddy in the world because I tell it what to do, and it saves me hours and hours. Great. It even knows me now, so it knows how to write or how to cherry pick things that I'm looking for my research. But how to use it, that's my responsibility. That's my privilege. And it's going to be the same thing with medical and dental information as well. So
Yeah.
a practitioner, care, skill, judgment, leadership, and influence.
Yeah. I completely agree with that sentiment. Because like you could call me a bunch of things, but you call me a provider and it drives me up a wall. You call me a dental surgeon, a dentist, a doctor, anything. But that P word, it's not a good word. And the funny thing is, so my background actually isn't biology or chemistry. It's actually the healthcare business. So I have a business degree. And they actually told us in one of the it was basically a brainstorming session between a lot of the big four consulting companies who I worked for at some point in my career as well, big hospital systems, that we called doctors and nurses and stuff providers to actually degrade their value in the system.
That
That
was
was from a CEO of I'm not going to name the company, but yes, that was 2015,
that long ago.
11 years ago.
That how you know what that is? It's another. You hit on another Alanism that I haven't written about in a while. That, my friend, is called humanistic malpractice. That is the lowest form of malpractice that you could think of.
Hmm.
You take a person who has busted their for 4 years beyond college, taken on a ton of debt and a ton and a half of responsibility, and now you're stripping from them their ability to do what they're trained to do, and you're putting them at the behest of a bean counter, or better yet, an office manager with no degree in anything, and you're telling them to put their license on the line by doing what you're told to do.
Mm.
And then creating, instead of a patient or a friend, you're creating a consumer. There's your 1-star reviews, your malpractice suits, your state board complaint, and worse yet, frontal disconnect, burnout, depression. And you know where untreated depression goes. And I've seen more than my share of suicides in my 42 years of dentistry. That is humanistic malpractice. And it's hurting everybody.
Yeah.
Wow. My research showed me that this was not the intent of that word. Now you're telling me otherwise, that it may very well be the real bad things that I'm hesitant to use the word evil because evil is a very extreme word, but that's nefarious. That's nefarious. It's wrong. It's just plain wrong.
Yeah, the health administration side of medicine, it's a very dark game. Um, and I wish people understood that more. And I would encourage actually all young doctors and dentists or people that want to go into that field to understand that business side because you'll understand what they're trying to dilute the profession into.
Well, we've got to take the profession back. And I think
Mhm.
I think there is, I do think that that part or that type of practice is not going away, but there's plenty of room for those who want to differentiate themselves and be true healthcare practitioners, true practitioners dedicated to the well-being of others. But in order to do that, we have to create the awareness in the population that it doesn't have to be mass market profits before people healthcare.
Mhm.
There is a place for it. The challenge is going to be making ourselves attractive enough, getting our price point to where it's fair, that it compensates us adequately, that the patient pays with gratitude, and really getting that message out there unabashed, unfiltered. We ain't providers, guys. We're here for you. We earn our money. We don't make our money. We earn our money by earning your trust and delivering the goods.
I think the landscape of dentistry is going to change a lot in the next decade.
Well, the landscape of the whole world is going to change. And it's how, and dentistry, we still have choices. We could be any one of the alphabet soups we want. HMO, DSO, FQHC, AACD, Pankey, Spear, Coyce, FFS, OON, PPO. We research. We have so many different options. But if you are true to really making a difference in the world for individuals and delivering care, skill, judgment, leadership, and influence out of the love of humanity, there's a place for you. If you want to go in at 9, clock in and clock out at 5, and not give a damn and go home to your family, and you have other things that are more important, there's a place for you. I hate to say it, but if you're greedy, there's a place for you. But it will lead to a miserable life. If you're doing this just for money, I guarantee you, you're going to be miserable at some point. You're going to look back and wonder what if.
And that's the thing. I have friends that are like that. I said, dude, you need to get the hell out of here. In the most respectable way too. Because the thing is, money is important. Yes. Don't get that wrong. But to only say that you're here for money, you're not doing it for the right reason. And in that sense, we don't need doctors or practitioners that are doing it for the money, because if that's how you are, you will only chase that. And when you only chase money, it will only slap you in the face. When you realize it holds no intrinsic value, it is only extrinsic at its best.
And here's the fun part. Here's the fun part. You could ask your money friends. What if the first 5 patients in your office or in one of the offices that you own is your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your husband, your wife? How are you going to treat them? And do you understand that the person in your chair, the consumer in your chair, is somebody's mother, father, sister, brother, husband, wife? There's the slap. Now, by the way, that's what I coach my young clients on who are working in some of these places, because, we have to strike a balance too, because like you said before, you need a certain amount of money to keep the lights on in the office. Sometimes I'll embellish a little bit here, little fun. Dr. Saqib, we have a 300-pound gagger in room 1 who needs an endo in 15 minutes, in a half hour. And by the way, she's double booked against her twin sister who needs a crown on tooth number 31. You have a half hour, get going. And by the way, the roots on number 15 are really swiggled.
Oh, geez.
And you are going to react from your amygdala, and you're going to think of a word that begins with a word that talks about human reproductive activity. Begins with an F. But what you're going to filter it out, you're going to get smart, and you're going to say, manager, thank you. These are things that I don't think I can get done in this period of time. But I do understand as well that we're under pressure to keep the lights on. So why don't we do this? Let me get done what I can get done here for these 2 folks, as though they're your mother. And then at the end of the day or the end of the week, let's sit down and let's go over what you need of me to keep the lights on and pay my salary, but also what I need of you so that I can do my job, not only to the best of my ability, but to kind of sort of preserve my license and keep this place from being investigated, and also to enhance the reputation of XYZ Dental where I work. Yeah. So let's get together and instead of busting each other's chops here, let's figure it out. We may come up with something that makes both of us unhappy, or both of us a little happier, but let's make sure that we are treating everyone as though they're your mother or mine, and keep the office lights on. Huh. Can we do that, please? Yeah. That's how you sound like a doctor, not a P word. That's how you're a healer and a clinician, not a hack for some third party, faceless, nameless third party. And that's how you continue to earn the trust of a vulnerable human being who's laid out in a supine position with you with all these sharp instruments spraying all kinds of crap all over the place.
Yeah.
So recognize both and try to align yourself with Mary the manager.
Well said. I actually might have a new Alanism for you. Well, if you want to call it Alanism, or you could, whatever you want to hybridize it as.
We'll call it Alhad.
Hey, I like it. I like it. I think the new generation needs to understand that you should be numbers focused, but patient driven. Why? So I had a lady in my chair. Actually, I prepped her case before I'm leaving for Pakistan. Well, Medicare, 6 or 7, was it 8? 8 anterior teeth and lower, and she had like 2 molars left, and missing premolars, and she's missing 24, I believe, 24 or 23, one of the front anterior teeth. And so the insurance approved a bridge from 22 to 25, I think. 26, 27, 28, and 29 weren't covered. And I told her, I said, just come back tomorrow. Let me think of something. And so what I said is she couldn't afford it. She's on a fixed income. So I spoke to my regional and I said, listen, I don't do garbage work. It doesn't leave. If it's my name on the product, it's not leaving. So I was like, would you be open if the patient can just pay the lab fee for the remaining 4 crowns, 120 or something a piece, and we'll make the money off the bridge, whatever. And she said, you know what, Dr. Skib, that is amazing. Let's do it. We told the patient that morning. She was in tears because her grandson's wedding is on June 12th and she's coming back the 9th. I'm coming back on the 8th to cement that case for her. And she was like, God bless you. And I said, ma'am, I really much appreciate that. But my reason for this is I know God is watching. So I have to do what's right in my heart.
Attaboy. Attaboy. That, yeah, this is great because there are people who can't afford it. And, in my generation, we were raised in we were trained in the authoritarian way. Do it my way or, get out my way or the highway. And when they say they can't afford it, we don't have an answer for that. We thought, you can't afford not to. Or how much is this tooth worth? I don't know. If I give you $1,000, would you let me take that tooth out? If I give you 10,000, would you let me take the tooth? Of course not. The tooth is worth a lot. But we have to add compassion and empathy. They're so lacking. And for you to introduce that into a corporate environment, yeah. Yeah, keep influencing. Keep influencing. You're the kind of influencer we need.
Thank you, Alan.
That is awesome. And I don't even know if I would have thought of that. That's really good. That's really good thinking. And obviously, in the limited prep plus lab fee, there was enough money per hour that justified doing it and justified your salary and made enough profit for the office. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And I think it comes down to those 4 words: numbers focused, but patient centered.
Yeah.
Because if you can get that, and as long as you're a productive person, whatever that means to you, you can take side steps in dentistry and help those that need it the most. Because that goodness, we need more of it, and it always gets rewarded double or triple somehow, some way.
Yes, it does. And, successful. What does successful mean? My mentor, my coach, my friend, my speaking and business coach, the amazing Mark LeBlanc, had to sit down and think about what does success mean? Success means getting more and more of what you want. What do you want? Money? If that's what you want, go ahead, but you're not going to be happy. More and more what I want is spreading goodness in the world, and the money will follow.
Mhm.
It'll be commensurate with the quality and quantity of work that you do. That's it. Money is the reward we get for doing what we're doing, and how you earn it is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
And can you live with yourself working as you do? And would you do it for your mother, father, sister, brother, husband, wife, son, daughter? Yeah. Very good. You got to take this message in your way to your colleagues. And I'll help you any way I can. But to hear it coming from a guy who's doing it, I've done it. you're doing it. I think this is a very, very important thing to teach. The money will come.
It will.
The money will come, but everything else will hit you right in the face and keep you going harder and stronger and happier with a full night of sleep.
And like you see these clinics producing 1 million or 2 million or 3 million. It's all possible. It's not impossible, but you do it with the patient in mind and in the best possible way by taking care of the human first. Yeah. Money isn't evil. Money isn't good. It's just a reflection of who you are.
But I'll tell you one other thing. If you are going to take care of another human with a big heart, with love in your heart, whoop, this camera's driving me out of my mind. All right, listeners, watch this. I'm a loser. Watch the camera. Bingo, there I am. Where does love start? You've got to love yourself. You've got to accept your flaws and imperfections. You've got to accept your humanness. You've got to accept the ups and the downs. You have to take your imperfections and your so-called screw-ups and use them as learning experience, and not beat yourself up over every little thing that doesn't go perfect. In my earlier days of coaching, I used to tell people like you, just be a little better tomorrow than you are today. But you know what? Tomorrow you might wake up not feeling real good. In fact, maybe you didn't have a good night's sleep Sunday night. Maybe you had a hard workout and every muscle in your body is so sore you can't move. And maybe on that day, you have 8 units to prep.
Yeah.
Half asleep, sore muscles, maybe a stomach bug the night before. And you may have to say, look, Mr. Miss 8 units, let's reschedule. Or let's do something small today. As long as you can go home at 5 o'clock or whatever, 3 o'clock if you're safe, 4 o'clock if you're sane, and say, I made somebody's life better today. You've had a good day and you are successful. You can allow yourself to be a little bit lousier today than yesterday. But as long as the grand picture, big picture, is an upward spiral.
And I think like the associates in my generation, they look at like numbers only to make, you know, payments on their loans, which is understandable. I get that. But what you need to find out is what makes sense to you money wise and then work backwards. If you have a loan to pay, if you have a car to pay, totally fine. Rent, wife to take care of. Those are all legitimate concerns. No one's dismissing them. But know what that number is that you need to do to be a good provider to the things that you need to provide for. Huh?
A good what?
Oh, oh. Well, you know what I
I'm
mean.
going to put my fist through that camera.
But, provider, not in the sense of the insurance, but like, that provider mentality that you're providing for your family, like the food and stuff on the table.
That's better. That's better.
That's what I meant to say, not doctor. Um, if you understand what you need to do that to function and work backwards, you'll be very successful. If that means 100K in collections, which actually isn't a lot, which pretty normal, you could do that pretty easily. If that's what your number is, then work backwards and be like, okay, what do I need to do? And how can I get my team focused that this is the magical number we need to keep the lights on, pay them well, but also pay myself well so I can provide and take care of my family and the bills that are due.
Right. So 2 things there. What's your BAM, your bare ass minimum? How much more do you want personally? And what are you willing or able to do in order to get it? Alanism number 38, no matter how much or how little you may think somebody has, no matter how much you think I have, you have no idea, number one, whether that's real, and you have no idea what price I've paid or am paying in order to have whatever you think I have.
Yeah.
So, what is enough for me may be not even close to enough for you, and that there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But you have to know it in terms of yourself. If you want to use another practitioner as a role model to add to your repertoire, to make you a little bit better, okay, but don't define yourself, and certainly don't let your bank account define you, but don't compare yourself to what you think I or anybody else is. And my wife is going to start getting mad at me pretty soon
Okay.
And I want to
Uh,
stay married. I don't have enough for the legal. Well, never mind.
so really quickly, I mean, Alan, we really focused a lot on the mind part. I'll skip the fitness part because we all know you're a fitness monster.
Go ahead to ask me about fitness.
But okay, what has been your craziest objective you set for yourself and you've accomplished it? And then what's the vice versa? What was something you set for yourself but didn't accomplish it?
Good. All right. Two crazy things I did. I lost 35 pounds at age 58. 4 inches off my waist, 5 inches off my waist, out off of here. That was incredible because never thought I could do it. I used a world-class nutritionist who helped me through that. Um, my fitness goal, the 10.5 minute plank at age 66. You, it's, there are, record holders who've done things like that. But for me, that was amazing. What didn't I hit? I've gained back about 8 of those pounds. And I'm having a real hard time getting rid of them. It doesn't show that much, but I feel it. That, and by the way, I have two torn rotator cuffs, a herniated L4, L5, and a partially torn meniscus in my right knee. So they do set a little bit of limitation of what I can do now, but not much. So does that answer your question?
It does. And I know we had to talk about all your roots and everything, but that might be a whole nother conversation. So let's end with my final questions.
Mhm.
What is one big lesson your mother taught you that you've kept in your mind till this day present?
There are many times where I can't even think about this without starting to lose it. Uh,
Mhm,
we've spoken offline, and you know that my mother was a Holocaust survivor.
mhm,
My mother witnessed and endured things that even by today's standards are unthinkable. And my mother, um, unconsciously and sometimes consciously, let me know that Jewish people were put in the world to suffer. And my mother also suffered from survivor's guilt, PTSD, and an abusive marriage. I know that I've been affected epigenetically and environmentally by those factors. And I spent most of my life wondering why the hell a teenage girl should be stuffed in a cattle car with her parents and hundreds of others, pulled off of it, separated forcibly from her parents. They went to die and they went to live, and she went to live, well, if you want to call it living. And the baggage that mom carried is unimaginable. And after she passed on, the last 8 years of her life were lucid. They were really, she was very solid. We had some very deep talks. And I thought, damn it, if only I could have taught her what I know. If I knew then what I know now. It's some fantasy, some stupid fantasy world. I thought maybe I could have helped her through the crap that she was carrying.
hmm,
And along with what the hell? How do you make good in the world? How can anything amount to good with how could her suffering amount to anything good in the world? What the hell is God trying to do here? And I realized this is going to be tough to say. I know the suffering that was inflicted upon her. I know the suffering that she inflicted upon herself. How do I know that? Epigenetically and also from observation. I also know that a lot of dentists suffer through the education process. It's it's an assault on your self-esteem. It's getting better, but in my generation, it was an unmitigated assault on your self-esteem. And we inflict all this crap upon ourselves. Perfection syndrome, comparison syndrome, I'm not as good or I don't have enough, that whole thing, imposter syndrome. And I realized that my mother's suffering has amounted to and will amount to good in the world through my voice, through my showing others how to conquer the beast and crack the code. I'm not a therapist. I know where I must not go, but I do know when to refer to a therapist. And I also know to talk some of these kids through some of the things that are bogging down their lives and careers. So my mother teaches every day, me, you, and the rest of the world. So that is the biggest lesson she teaches me.
Thank you for sharing. It's tough. It's tough.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Alan, 2 more questions basically.
Yeah, we can do that.
When you die, because we all do, what is your legacy or what would you like written on your tombstone?
A force for good.
Why?
It's my mantra. That's my mission.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And my last question, which I always ask everybody, who is Alan in one word?
I ask my kids, they'll tell you one thing. Ask my wife, she'll tell you something. Who am I in one word? Decent, significant, imperfect?
I love it.
There's three. There's three.
There's 3. Hey, that works. Do you have any parting words for the audience before we head off, Alan?
Look in the mirror, see a well-trained, well-intended human being designed to be very good, but never perfect, because that's what you are. Be the best version of yourself on any given day. Know what you want. Create the world. Your ideal life is not going to fall in front of you. You got to plan it. You got to architect it. You got to build it, and you got to live it. And it can be done. I'm not any smarter than anybody else out there. Trust me. But I learned these lessons the hard way. I want you to learn it much less hard than I did. I'm living a dream right now. This is my dream come true. I want to see you welcome me to your dream come true.
Thank you, Alan.
There it is.
Well, Alan, thank you so much for your time today. It's always an amazing conversation with you. I look forward to many more because I know that we could talk for ages.
Yeah, we just proved it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
I was told that if conciseness were a virtue, I would burn in hell.
Hey, man. Well, it is what it is. But thank you again,
Thank you
Alan.
so much.
And then to the audience, thank you so much for tuning in on another episode of Mind, Body, and Roots. Until next time, my friends, be well.